And then you get one and it's a great, and you get it and it just one flies and you're like, this is what we want right here.
All right, well, I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Dad Hat Chronicles. My name is Ed, and with me, guys, I got a treat for you guys. I have the on-field MC host for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, Jordan Price. How are you today?
I am great. It's great and sunny in Jacksonville, Florida. Good 60-degree sunshine. I can't complain.
I'm so jealous right now. It's 51 here in North Carolina. It is sunny though. My wife just went out to take our daughter to gymnastics, and she was like, "Do I need a jacket?" I'm like, "No, you really don't. It's sunny. You don't need a jacket." It's like that's how the perfect weather.
Well, in the sun, it's great, but when you're in the shade, you got the little breeze, so it might be a little chilly.
Right, exactly. So
that's why I was like, let me throw on a sweatshirt, so I'm okay.
Just in case, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So Jordan, I want to get to know a little bit about you, right? Because I want to know how is it that you got into sports, right? Because we all want to be into sports, right? Like I've always wanted to work in for a baseball team or a basketball, whatever. But you've been lucky enough to been working into sports. But how did you get into sports?
So I started cheering in high school, but then when I got out, so I've been a dancer my entire life, and we have, the NFL team, Jacksonville Jaguars. And so ever since I was little, I met the cheerleaders and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be an NFL cheerleader. So at 18, I became an NFL cheerleader. I cheered all 5 years because, they have a cap limit. So I cheered 5 years and I got done and I was like, I still want to be involved in sports. I love sports. I love the energy and whatnot. I always thought I was going to go into NASCAR because I'm a huge NASCAR girl, like love it. And they had like the Sprint Cup girls. Well, whenever I was like coming out of the NFL, they were doing away with the Sprint Cup girls. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? So I had a friend who worked it was the Suns back in the day. Yep. They had a cheerleading team. And so he was like, we actually need a cheerleading coach. Do you want to come and do it? And I was like, absolutely. I still get to dance. I still get to be in sports. Win-win. I don't have to do all, the tricks and whatnot, but I can still be a part of it. So I did it. And then when the Jumbo Shrimp come along and took over, they were like, we're not going to have the cheerleaders anymore. And I said, well, I still want to be a part of it. Do you have something that I can do? And they're like, we need an on-field host. And I'm like, I went to school for it. Let's go. I never, promo hosted a day in my life. And so then I went out there and I loved it. I loved the energetic crowd. I love getting everybody pumped up, making people's day. Some people have never even touched a baseball field before. So for them, it was a whole new experience. I'm like, I love bringing smiles to people's faces. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I went into JU basketball, MC JU basketball for a little bit. Then I went into Armada Soccer. I MC'd and PA'd Armada Soccer for a little bit. Never been a PA announcer. I'm good with soccer. I don't have to do PA announcing for people. I messed up some names in the soccer world, so I'm so sorry to them. But then I just continue with Jumbo Shrimp, and I absolutely love it. I'm on year 11 now, so.
Year 11. That's like, not a lot of people tell us like, oh, how long you work for the team? It's like, oh, only a couple of years. And then I went on to do other things. But you've stuck with the Jumbo Shrimp.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's like you become family. There's a handful of us that's been there a while. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, it's fun to see everybody grow and evolve, get families and married and whatnot. And it's just like, we're one big happy family now. So it's hard. I don't even want to think about leaving because I don't want to leave.
No, you're not going to leave. You're loving it. So why leave that when you're forever? Exactly. Okay. So let me ask you this, right? Because, with MC, that takes a whole different set of skill sets, right? Because you're just on the from start to finish. You're on, right?
Yeah.
So what is your typical day during the season, right? Well, I'll ask you about the off season, but what is your typical day during the season when you're just, you gotta be on? Like when do you start? When do you finish?
Well, so I have a full-time job. I'm a special needs teacher. So I teach. I get up at 5 a.m. I know, first grade special needs. So my little babies, I love them. But I get up at 5 a.m. I go to work. I teach special needs all day, and I get done. I go straight to the stadium. And it's funny because I'll be in the locker room getting ready because I go to school, and I'm not going to lie, I look like a bum. I'm not like, there's no hair and makeup at 5 a.m. So I go to the Jumbo Shrimp and I get ready. Usually there like 2 hours, 2.5 hours before I get ready. And then we go over like a script, the promos and things like that. And then I chilled for probably about 45 minutes. So I walk around, talk to people. I know so many people at the shrimp and the ushers and things like that. So I go and say hello to people. I talk to people. You want, I don't want to say I'm the face of the shrimp, but you want to make sure that everybody feels welcome. I never want anyone to think that I will not talk to them. No, I want to talk to everybody. Like, I love everybody because you never know who you're going to meet.
True.
So I go around, say hello. I go to the PA box. I say hello to them. Make sure John and I are on the same wavelength because, he always shoots it down to me and then I shoot it back up to him when I'm done. Once the game gets started rolling, we're on. Like, you got to be quick-witted. You got to be ready for anything, especially when the promos happen, because we used to have the kids like run the bases or run southpaw on the bases. And you can be ready because, like, I had one kid dart straight to center field. And you're like, nope, somebody gets hit. Like, or, you get Thirsty Thursdays. And, some people participate a little bit too much on Thirsty Thursdays. So you got to be ready to, like, nip it in the bud. You got to be ready to see where they're going.
Boom.
So it's a lot of, you got to be on your feet and ready to go. There's no room for distractions or anything like that. And then once it goes, it goes. And then we end it with, some fireworks usually and call it a day and then repeat it all over again.
The next day, right? Like, you're just like, when during the season, that's all you do. So, and one of the questions that I said I was going to ask you is, because you are a parent, like, like myself, right? We have kids, and how do you balance that out? Like, that has to be one of the toughest things to do. Like, God bless you for, being able to do all of that and still being a parent. How is it?
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
Well, I've actually gotten really lucky. She's with her dad on that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worked out really well where anytime I have a Jumbo Shrimp weekend, because I work Thursday through Sunday for Shrimp, she's usually with her dad and he'll bring her and whatnot. So she's growing up at the ballpark and she loves it.
Mm.
So it's so amazing to be able to share what you love with the person you love the most. Like Monday, we did a little photo shoot just for the merchandise and she ran on the field like she owned the place. Like, all right, you go, girl. Like, she's running up and down the stairs. She's running on things. She's like, we're shrimp. And I was like, girl, it ain't time for the shrimp, Or she'll do the chant. She loves going, Jumbo Shrimp, Jumbo Shrimp. So anytime like I have my gear on or anything like that, she's already doing the chants. So I'm like, she's been around it 3 years now. She knows what she's doing. I don't have to worry about her. Like, I remember one game I had her on the field because she was going to say play ball before the game. She's over there high-fiving players. And they love her and they know who she is. So they're like giving her high fives, playing with her and whatnot. And I was like, it's such a family atmosphere. And I know that's what the Jumbo Shrimp wanted, it's affordable family fun. So having her there and having people see that interaction, it's a family thing. So everybody loves it. And
that's
I love
awesome.
being able to share my life and my child with the fans and things like that.
That, and you're right, because it's something that you want to involve your kids in everything that you do. For like, for me, when I'm doing like, I'm picking a new hat, when I do my wheel of dad hats, my daughter's always there, right? And she loves this. She's like, in the mornings before she goes to school, it's like, hey, daddy, let's go and, make a video real quick before I go to school. I'm like, let's go, kid. You gotta embrace those times when they want to be part of what you do, because that makes it even more special.
Yeah, especially like on Monday when we did the photo shoot, she was like a little wild. And I was like, girl, you would pick the one day I don't need you to be wild.
To be wild.
I need you to tame it in just a little bit. But the photos turned out great. So I couldn't complain. I was like, these are great photos. Like, it just shows her personality. And she's so spunky like me. So I couldn't complain at all. I was like, they captured the real true her. I don't want her to be, out there like, that fake smile.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I promise it wasn't forced. No, they got her true, genuine self. And I was like, I can't complain. Like, those photos are amazing.
That's awesome. I love that, right? Because she's growing up in baseball. You're teaching her. That's a great sport. Baseball's an absolute wonderful sport, right? So it's like, something that, you're able to share with your daughter, right? That not a lot of people are able to do, that, the kids are not, they don't grow up in sports like your daughter is doing.
Oh yeah, and we had I teach special needs.
Yep.
There's a baseball company here called Walk Off Charities,
Yep.
and they do field trips for third graders in Jacksonville. It's a free field trip. They get a baseball glove and everything. So they actually agreed to have our whole special needs department come over, and the amount of my children alone who's never even played baseball, they didn't know what a glove was, they didn't know what a bat was, they didn't know how to swing. So for them to teach them, it was like, such an eye-opening experience, but such an amazing experience at the same time.
Hmm.
So they're learning baseball, thing that I love, but they're also getting those social skills, that interaction that they probably will never ever have. So it was a really cool experience in general.
Something that a question that just came up as you're saying that, because you're a special needs teacher, and and I wanted to know, like, does both your jobs, your careers intertwine a lot of the times, right? Because some of those skill sets that you have as an MC, I'm sure, can come in very, very handy when you are teaching your kids, and vice versa, right?
Oh yeah, well, first it's communication skills. So I got to be able to communicate, and I got to be able to communicate on like my kiddos levels, and I got to be able to communicate thoroughly with Jumbo Shrimp. You got to be quick witted. You got to be on your toes, because my classroom can go from 0 to 100 real quick with the behavior.
Hmm.
So it's just being ready, and it's always being kind of 2 steps ahead. So if you see something about to happen, it's one of those things like, all right, how can I prevent it? Just like on the field, you can see a promo's not going really well
Hmm.
because we have some flake every now and then, or it doesn't go as needed or wanted or something like that. So you kind of got to be ready to be able to change it instantly.
Yeah.
Or you got to be able to end it quickly. So say if a promo's taken too long, I got to be able to look at the time clock, because we only got 2 minutes on and off the field. So I got to be able to be like, all right, this isn't going quickly. We got to wrap it up 10, 9, 8, 7. Let's go, kind of thing.
Interesting.
So both of it really intertwines. It's actually, I never even thought about it that way, but yeah, it actually goes hand in hand for both of them.
And it's funny you say that's, like, you have to anticipate 2 steps ahead. It's like, I'm sure Thursdays is going to be the same thing. It's like, you definitely got
Oh,
to go
yeah.
3, 4 steps ahead on that one.
Oh, especially for every promo. So it depends on like which one we're going to do. And David, my boss, is really, really good about selecting what promos to do on Thursday.
Smart, very
Um,
smart. Yeah.
yeah. So like ribbon dancing is a hit. I know ribbon dance is going to be a hit. We usually put it later on in the game because we want it to be a fun
Yeah.
dance. But we have promo stuff out there where they're by the catcher, they're by the dugout. So we're not going to have anybody running in the dugouts.
Right.
Or they're not going to run into the players or anything like that. They're not going to run on the field and try to streak. We always plan, so we always know where they're going to be. And I kind of always stand not by the dugout, but by the field.
Yep.
So just in case anything, I'm by the field and I can, not like I'm going to block really well, but I'm going to try my best to like keep them in their little area.
Yeah.
Their
Corral them
bubble
in.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it. Yeah. And you're right. Like, I mean, one of the most things that I enjoy when I go to a minor league game is those events where you see like the dads or the moms, like, really interacting with the
Mhm.
kids. Oh, those are always fun because you're just dying. And I'm like, those
Oh,
are,
yeah. My favorite is when you go, like our promo staff is really good about going around trying to find people for the promos and whatnot. And the parents want to do it more than the kids.
oh,
The
yeah.
kids will be like, no, I'm good. They kind of got stage fright or whatever. And the parents are like, I'll do it. It's like they're reliving their childhood. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Let's go.
even better. I was a dance teacher forever, and we had a studio, and the dance dads would come, and they loved being on the field, loved doing the promos and things like that. We kind of played a trick with the players. We have Stars of Tomorrow, which is young teams that go out and run with the players for anthem and stuff like that. And so we played a trick, and I got a bunch of dance dads to be the Stars of Tomorrow. And so they ran on the field with the players. Some players were like, oh no, like they took off running. And then you had some players who were like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, come on, So we didn't tell them. Like, we did not tell them at all. We're like, nope. So that, they roll out and they see all these players out there and they're like, I mean, not players, they see all these dads out there and they're like, what in the world is going on? Like, this is not normal. And we're like, Just go with it.
Just roll with it. Let's just enjoy it, have fun, because it's gonna happen whether you're run away or not. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna follow you no matter what you do.
Exactly. Oh, it's even better when the parents follow you. Oh, just to even make it more embarrassing.
Yep.
I can't wait for that part in my life when I'm embarrassing my daughter, just because I think, my parents did that to me. So I think it's like a rite of passage that you got to do it to your kid.
I feel like Lily would love it. Like she would love it. And we're gonna attempt baby ball in the fall. I thought about spring, but it didn't work well with the shrimp schedule. So I'm gonna try to do baby ball in the fall. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be that mom. I'm 100% gonna be that mom.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I can't wait.
So when it comes to promotions, like, do you have an input in what those promotions are, how are done, what you guys bring in? Because I'm sure every year you guys are trying to do something different, something new. So like, what is your input when it comes to promotions?
David's really, really good coming up with promotion. I'm not as clever as him. But if I see something, because you think about it and you're like, oh, that probably wouldn't go so well, or it's better in a ML or in a basketball setting. Some promos don't go as well with our minor league and what we do and whatnot. So I went to, I think, the Magic game or something like that, and it was the Oblivious Cam, and I was like, I love this. So like I texted David and I was like, oh, we got to figure out how to do this. Like, this is the coolest thing. So some things that I can find on YouTube or TikTok or things like that, I'm like, all right, let's see if we can do it. Some of it, David's like, let's try it and see. If it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, we'll rock with it. We're like, all right, let's go.
Fail fast, and then learn from that and move on.
Yeah, I mean, David's really, really good with coming up. So if I have an idea, I'll text it and shoot it to him, and we can go with it, or we can tweak it, or we can be like, nah, that ain't gonna work. But
Not
he's
so much.
really good with open suggestions, but he comes up with majority of them. I got to give him credit.
That's awesome. I love that. And then during the time in a game, that you're not, well, obviously because you're on the go, but like, do you usually have time to do different things, or is this just, this is all I'm doing? Like, I am doing this for, first inning to ninth inning, is that what you do the whole time, or do you do something different as well?
It depends on the game. Like sometimes we do have a break. So say I'll do a promo and then I might get an inning break, and then I'll go and do another promo, and then it's like back to back to back.
Oh, wow.
So it just depends. Like sometimes I can go around and say, hey, if I have friends or family there, I can go say, hey, or sometimes I don't have time to do nothing. Like I'm going from center field to right field to the tiki back to home plate. Like I get my exercise. I will say that.
You get your steps in.
Start like running stairs soon, because like I gotta get my cardio back up for this.
It's like, here we go. We gotta get it going. Like it's your spring training now.
Yeah, I got a month, so I gotta start doing something. Because if not, I don't want to be huffing and puffing on the camera.
Yeah, right. No, you definitely don't want to do that. Anybody, it's like, it's like, what happened? Like, nothing. Don't worry about it. I just went from one field to the other side. Don't worry about that.
I'm like, give me like a 10-second intro real quick. Let me catch my breath.
Right. I was like, I need you to go ahead and just give you a second.
Oh yeah, I've been there, done that. I've been on the little walkie. Hey, I'm gonna need a quick second. Like, John, you gotta say something because I gotta catch my breath.
That's awesome. Tell me about one of those, promos as you're like, man, this thing just did not work out. You're like, you thought it was going to be the greatest thing on earth, and it just flopped.
I mean, we have one, the big blow up balls that people get in.
Yeah.
It's always a hit or miss. Always.
Really? I would think that would be a good thing.
Listen, so I love it. Like, I'm always ready for it. But sometimes you get some people and they just run and they don't do anything. And so you're like, all right, let's set it back up. Let's do it again. Come on. Who are we going for? Green or red? They do it. Nothing. And you're like, somebody knock somebody out, please. And then you get one and it's a great, and you get it and it just one flies. And you're like, this is what we want right here. Like, yeah, you're like pumped up. I'm kind of get more excited than the crowd gets sometimes.
Because they're like, finally.
Yeah, that are the flying chickens. So the flying rubber chickens with the slingshot.
Oh, those are fun.
Oh, it's great when it's, flying in the air. But then if you get somebody slinging it and it just flops down, it's like, meh. You're like, dun, dun, dun. But my favorite is whenever David, I love David. Like, I love giving him so much crap. If David's shooting it and it goes down, I'm like, you can email David at jackshrimp.com. Like, he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So,
Just wait for the emails.
Yeah. So it's one of those, it's like sometimes it's a really good promo because they're flying in the air and they're catching them and whatnot. Sometimes we get them in the granny panties. Like we got these giant granny panties. Oh. And so they'll be running around with granny panties, like trying to catch the rubber chickens flying. And then sometimes, it's just a flop. It's like, meh,
oh,
we're done.
No.
So then my favorite is when the crowd starts booing and you're like, whoop, hang on my phone. When the crowd starts booing and you're like, it ain't me. Like it's them.
Go ahead and blame them. That's them. That's all. I put them on it. They were supposed to take care of it.
Hey, the crowd interaction is completely fine because I'd rather them be booing than be silent.
You're right, because then at that point they're not paying attention to you. Exactly. That's interesting. I love that. Because I never thought about like, that bouncy ball, right? Like, it's like, okay, if you get someone in there that's like really, because I will be the type of person that I would want to like, slingshot somebody like, 40, 50 yards. Yeah.
No, I thought it was going to always be that way. And then sometimes you just got them and they're like, that's it. And you're like, all right, let's reset. Like, you got to keep the amping up because you're like, we're going to have one good one. Like we are. And then all, best 2 out of 3. And they're all 3 like, meh.
You're like, this is a dud.
All right, Team Red, you tried your best.
Like, so at that point, you just, because of, obviously it's a dud, right? Like, you're like, it didn't work out, right? Like, do you be like, all right, oh, well, you should have done better? Or like, do you do something like that along those lines to be like, they blew it?
It depends. Sometimes it depends on what's going on and who's around and whatnot and the time limit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, all right, we got to wrap it up. All right, great try. Better luck next time.
Right.
Or sometimes, if I got my sassy pants on, I'm like, bless your heart. Like, you try.
Yeah, that's something that I had to get used to here in the South is the bless your heart.
It's my favorite.
Because
so everybody knows, like,
go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Everybody knows, like, my opening line is, hey, y'all. Like, I am the hey, y'all person. I'll be like, hey, y'all, I'm down here with so-and-so, or hey, y'all. Like, they know that's my opening line.
Right.
I can run into people I've never met, and they're like, hey, y'all. And I'm like, you come to a Jumbo Shrimp game. But my favorite, like, little, tagline whenever something doesn't go well is, bless your heart, you tried. Like, bless it.
It's something that like as soon as I hear that, it's like, when everyone tells you bless your heart, you're like, it's not good. Like you didn't do good. Okay. So it's like, don't think that they're being, positive. It's just like,
you tried.
Yeah. Good for you.
Oh, sweetheart. That one or oh, sweetie. You're like, We always had a thing like with the Jaguars when we were cheering. Like if we went to an appearance or something like that and you had a drunk fan that maybe was crossing the line, anytime we heard, oh, you, that was like coming and save the day. Like anytime we heard the, oh, you, something was happening and we had to come save the cheerleader.
I like that. As you guys had like, it's like, oh, you were like, oh, here we go. We got to go help out.
Yeah. And I kind of like some of the promo staff kind of know, like I'll have a look. So say if it's a thirsty Thursday or anything like that, it's just a look like, hey, come save me. Like we got to go, like wrap it up kind of thing. So you always got to have a code or a look. Yeah.
Let me ask you, and this is going to be something on, Jaguars related. It's like that. I'm sure that was a lot of fun, but I'm sure that was also very tough to have to, the workouts and all of the choreographs. I'm sure that was fun and tough at the same time, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Looking back, I don't know how I did it. I was a full-time college student. I taught dance. I worked at an animal hospital, and I was an NFL cheerleader. We had practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, games on Sundays. I don't know how I've survived. Like, I have no idea. And then, you're supposed to work out in between that. And so, there were some nights that I think it was like 7 to 9, 7 to 10. And we would do kick line like 50 times. And kick line's my favorite, so it was fine. But it's like sometimes you're just tired and trying to remember the choreography. We had 3 new dances every week.
Oh, hell
And then
no.
you have to perform them on Sunday. Oh, yeah. So you got to think you got 3 different dances. You got to remember where you stand. If you were beside your partner, like you got to remember the hashes, the lines, it's got to be perfect. Like you got to be on. And so you didn't have time for mess ups. And then, we would have, so whenever we started the London series, we were the first team to go to London and cheer at London. So it was on, like we had to be the best. So we would have this game on Sunday, and then we turned around and learned these 3 new dances. And then you had to practice, practice, practice. We get to London and you have to perform it. But then that doesn't include the on air, the radio, and everything else. And then these performances the day of were outside Wembley. And you have to, good thing was we could break these dances down that we learned into stingers. So our little sideline, like 3/8 count dances, we could go perform them real quick. And it was fine because we would throw it to his music. Like you would be like, all right, we're going to do, we had names for him. So we're going to do up, down, la, la, and whatever else we called Kesha. Those were like a stinger names. All right, we're going to throw those 3 together and we're going to perform it outside Wembley real quick. And so we just always had to be on. So it was a lot trying to balance everything and then learn the dances and remember the dances. But we learned quickly as a team, like you start yelling out what's next. So say, if we're doing that dance and we get done with the la la stinger, okay, we're going to do up and that's next, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we were really good about keeping it up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I didn't even know.
My role, oh, you're good. So like my role for like kick line was yelling out what's next. So we did straight kicks, corner kicks, fan kicks, things like that. So like I was like, all right, straight kicks. And then, we get done with that corner kick. So we all had roles, but we always helped each other out.
I didn't even know that for cheerleaders, it was only a 5-year contract kind of thing. And then, on to something, you had to do something different. I didn't even, didn't even really cross my mind because in Cleveland, there's no cheerleaders. Right. So that's something that so there was nothing that you thought of when you were, when at an NFL game.
Yeah, I want to say, other teams have different years. I think maybe Dallas has 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I want to say Patriots was like 3 years for a while. But I think most teams adapted the 5-year rule because whenever I came on, they just made the announcement for 5 years. Because there was a lady on there for 13 years. You had people on there for 6 years, 8 years, and whatnot. And it was really cool to see that. Like, if we didn't have a rule, I'd probably be still doing it for a few more years. But it just gave other people the opportunity to come and experience that NFL experience.
That's pretty cool. It's different, right? You got to go to London. You got to do some cool things when
I went to London 6 times, so I can't complain.
Oh my God, really?
So when we announced that the Jaguars were going to be like the home team for London, we did a Super Bowl party. We went and watched, I think it was like the Rams and the Patriots play just to see like what the experience was. I got to do a photo shoot there. We did our calendar shoot there. We got to cheer the game, another Super Bowl party, just different things like that. I remember one time I went for like 12 days. So we got to experience the like previous game. It was like when we were doing the very first game, we got to go beforehand and, say, hey, the Jags are coming, get excited, get pumped up. And then we got to stay a little bit afterwards to do like follow-up interviews on TV, BBC Network, BBC Radio, things like that.
Wow. That's a totally different side of the business that you don't get to think about. Like, the interviews, the appearances and things like that. It's just, you got it. And you're on the whole time.
All day. Hair and makeup, the uniforms, like you are on all day long.
Oh my God. Like you just want, like at the end of the day, just like, I just want to go to the bed and just not do anything.
Well, the fun part was we went out and about afterwards. Cause like you do all this all day long and you're like, no, we got to experience London. Like we are in London. We got to go. So we would go and sightsee. Like there was one time in that 12-day experience, we got a day off. So we went to Paris for the day. So you did that like 6 a.m. train, which, we're all doing hair and makeup from yesterday. So it's all right. So we went to Paris. We had like an 8-hour tour day and then came straight back.
Why not? I
Yeah.
mean, take advantage of it, right?
Oh, we did. We loved it. Like we got to do all kinds of things. And some of the clubs let us come in because they're like, oh, you got NFL cheerleaders in here. So you got to experience a little bit of the nightlife and you got to experience, Buckingham Palace. The coolest experience ever. We are at Buckingham Palace and we're looking at everything. We just saw, I guess, changing of the guards and whatnot. And we're walking down the street and we hear sirens and everything. And we're like, what is going on? Like everybody stopped, everybody's got their phone out, and we're just like, what is going on? We had no idea. It was the Queen. The Queen drove by, and none of us had our cell phones out.
Oh,
We were all
no.
like, I'm telling you, the Queen waved at us, and our mouths were wide open.
Oh.
Like we were all like, oh my gosh, the Queen.
That's awesome.
We were frozen time. And there was like 12 of us, and we're like, not one of us got a picture of the Queen.
Oopsie.
I know, but we were so shocked. We're like, this is really happening. And, not many people can say they've seen the Queen up and close in person. And I mean, there was no tinted windows, no nothing. And she's just, sitting in the back waving. And we're just like, did this really happen? Like, we really just saw this. So it was cool. That goes down in my history, but
that's pretty cool. It's like, you can't, equate being in the NFL to obviously, and experiencing all of that. But that also makes experiences like I'm a huge believer in experiences are really what matters right now, right? When you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, listen, I don't need anything. If I want something, I'll buy it. Like I just want the experience because it's just, this is cool stuff.
Yeah. Just like this past year, I went to London for the 10th anniversary game. And I'm like, I went there the first year. Like I was the first cheerleader to do this. And then now coming back 10 years later as a fan and just seeing how much it's evolved. And some of the guys are still in the security team. So I get to still see my security that I had 10 years ago. And it was just fun to catch up with everybody that I know in London. And, thank goodness for social media because I'm able to keep up with them. They've seen me evolve for the last 10 years. They see I have a kid and they've gotten married and they've had kids and things like that. So it was just really cool to go back and see everybody and see how, the experience is still going on. I don't want to say we started it, but, we started, we was the first and then seeing it continue on.
And the Jaguars would go every year. I mean, that's just like, because I have a friend of mine who's a, big, massive, Jaguars fan. And I'm like, you're guaranteed a London game no matter what. That's what it is. With the Jaguars, you were always guaranteed a London game.
Yeah, I love it.
I hope you guys enjoy that episode with Jordan. Make sure you guys are following her on Twitter, TikTok, wherever she's at. I will put all of the social media in the show notes so that way you guys can go ahead and follow her. Before I go, I want to make sure that I take care of a couple of business things here for the podcast and corporate media. I wanted to let you guys know that May 24th, 25th, and 26th, we will be here in North Carolina. We will be doing 3 games. It'll be the corporate media meetup for this year. Who knows? There might be another one, but we're going to be visiting the Holly Springs Salamanders, the Carolina Mudcats, as well as the Durham Bulls. So come and join us if you want to join us for all 3 games. If you want to join us for 1 or 2, it's really up to you. We would love to come and have you here with us having some fun and watching some baseball. I mean, what's better than that, right? So, all right, guys. So now make sure you guys are also following me on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you guys hit up my YouTube channel as well. But now let's go ahead and let's just end this the right way, okay? Let's just end this episode the right way. And let's get you guys a dad joke of the episode. Here it is. What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Frostbite. All right. I'll see myself out. And until then, guys, keep grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Kelly Robinson, the Minor League Nerd. My YouTube channel explores the history of minor league baseball teams. More than just stats, we delve into team lineage, sharing stories from current franchises to obscure one-year wonders.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.